You could probably substitute the word things for tips or useful advantages, but I feel like the word just sort of fits. Old Screamscape is a pretty massive game with many hidden features, but also some features that are pretty wide out in the open for us that we may not take advantage of all the time. These things could be hidden money making methods, ways of getting free XP, a useful shortcut somewhere, or free items you can claim from NPCs that you didn't know you could claim. For this video, I'm going to show you guys some of the things that I've been doing recently and been sort of consistently doing because I think they can be really helpful in the long run. Don't forget that some of the things I'll be showing may be normal to some people. You may do it every day, but it may be completely new for some people, so don't forget that. Also, if you guys like this sort of video, make sure to drop a like and a comment because that'll really show me that I can make another one. And if you guys have any useful advantages or tips for people, make sure to leave it in the comments, and if I like it enough, I will make sure to put it in my next video that relates to like tips and advantages in old school. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Tears of Guthix minigame, which is what you guys have been watching in the background for this video so far. It's pretty much a way of getting XP in a skill without actually doing the skill. So it first off requires you to do the Tears of Guthix quest, which takes maybe 3 minutes. Once you guys have done the quest, you can basically come do this minigame once a week. In order to play it every week, you must have gained at least 1 quest point or 100,000 XP. Doesn't matter which skill. An easy way to get down here is just to use the Tears of Guthix teleport on the games necklace. Now basically what happens is you have to collect the blue tears on the wall. There are probably many guides out there. In fact, I think I may have made a guide on it, but basically keep it simple. You collect the blue tears on a wall. You're in there for a certain amount of time. Once your time runs out, you bring all the tears you collected to Juna, and she will give you a certain amount of XP based on how many tears you collected. Now, the time you spend in there depends on how many quest points you have. For example, if somebody has max quest points, so 246 quest points, they can stay in there for about 2 minutes and 35 seconds. If you have less, then obviously you're going to spend less time in there. If you've done the hard Lumber's Diaries, you actually get 10% more experience. Now, the thing is you can't choose the skill you want the XP in. It automatically goes towards your lowest skill. So for example, runecrafting is my lowest skill, so every time I do this mini game, I will get XP in runecrafting. Now, obviously this doesn't work for certain account builds. Let's say people who want to keep their defense 45 or 1 or 10 or whatever. You probably shouldn't be doing this because you'll get XP in that skill unless you have a lower skill. But for mains and people who don't care what XP they get in the skill, this is perfect. It's once a week, takes less than 5 minutes, and you gain free XP. I was like 69 runecrafting when I did this, and I got a free 10.5k. Now for runecrafting, that's pretty life-saving, so I appreciate that. I used to do this back in the day, and I always gained 2-3 levels in a skill every time I do this. For example, like I was 30 hunter, I do this and I gained 3-4 hunter levels. Like it's really that useful, especially in lower levels. There's like an algorithm that shows the XP you get per tier, but I'll link that in the description for wiki if you guys want to check that out. This next one is doing your herb runs for farming. Now you can be 32 farming and make great profit off Renar seeds. You only need to be 32 farming to plant Renar seeds. I spent about 196k on 5 Renar seeds, and I can probably make double that by the time my patches are finished growing. Now, you can do like 5 or 6 herb runs a day, depending on how often you're playing. You can log off and log back on and do your herb run. It takes like 5 minutes with the right teleports and like 10 minutes without it. So it's really not that long of a time to collect all your herbs. But if you just keep planting them and replanting them, you can make easy profit pretty much doing Renar seeds. Renar and Snapdragons are probably your best bet of making money. But again, you can plant anything really and make profit doing herb runs. But in this case, I managed to get 42 Renars from 5 Renar seeds and got 389k back. So almost 200k profit off that. And you do this 4 or 5 times a day, you're making $1 million per day. So definitely worth it. Something that doesn't take a lot of time and something I recommend doing. It's good. It's not that bad farming XP, but it's mainly for the money. Doing tasks I think is incredibly worth it, especially for mains. If you're in a main account, you should be doing as many tasks as possible. One, because they're incredibly easy to complete the meeting. The easy and medium tasks require really low combat level and really low total level in general. And even though you have to do some quests, the quests you have to do really don't take that long of a time. Now, the nice thing is you get XP lamps and you get access to some dailies. I think if you collect all the XP lamps from the easy tasks, it's like almost 30k free XP, and the medium is almost like 60,000 free XP from the XP lamps. And again, you get access to dailies, you get access to all these teleports, and that's one thing I'd recommend doing if you haven't started them. They're pretty easy to complete. I have a lot of guides on them, check them out. But if you haven't done them, I definitely recommend it. The achievement diary gear is also incredibly useful, mainly because you can teleport to certain places you couldn't teleport before, like the Cabbage Patch or the Arty Monastery or the Arty Farming Patch to the Fremnik Province, things like that. You also have things like the Founder Shield, which can recharge your prayer, and the Explorer's Ring, which can recharge your energy. So again, just these small things that make the quality of life better and just make your playing experience a bit better. Now, if you've completed certain diaries, you actually get access to some, let's say, freebies per day. For example, I have Arty Cloak 3 done, so I get 150 free pure essence per day from Wizard Crompty and Arty if I go to them every day. Now, this depends on what level of diary you have done. For example, if you have Arty Elite done, I think you get like 200 or 250 per day. Now, there are 4 main ones that I looked up. The biggest one is the Battle Staves in Varrock. You can buy 60. I have Hard done, Varrock Hard. I can buy 60 per day for 7,000 GP each, which is about 420,000 for all the battle stabs. Again, you can also get the Wizard Crompty ones, which is the pure essence. You can also get free flax per day from the flax guy in Camelot. If you've done Hand in the Sand, you can get free buckets of sand per day from Bert. And if you have the Western Provinces ones done, you get free ogre arrows per day from Rance. Now, I tested it out, and if you're not really worried about money and you're not really worried about getting these different supplies, the only one really worth doing is battle stabs. You make about 120k at the moment just selling the battle staffs that you bought for 7,000 each. So that by itself is pretty worth it. I mean, it's in Varrock, the GE is right there. You should be doing it every day. The rest of them you don't really make any profit on. However, if you're like an Iron Man, it really helps with the supplies, the flax, the pure essence maybe. I don't know about the ogre arrows, but definitely something to think about doing. Now the final thing for this video is using shops and stores around RS for using the shops and stores around RS for your advantage, or to your advantage. Now, there are many different stores around RS. There's stores that you've probably never even heard of, stores you've never even opened up before, and people stop. And you may end up finding a hidden gem somewhere that you use very often. For example, there's places that sell ores for very cheap. There's places that sell food for very cheap. I'm not going to tell you the best ones. I don't really know the best ones. But again, always look out for those because you never know what you might find. In the clip in the background, I realized that there's a bunch of stores in the Warriors Guild. And I just bought a bunch of food cheap. And I bought a bunch of strength potions cheap and sold them for a bit of profit. It wasn't huge, but it's just small things like that. Anyways, guys, make sure to drop any advantages or tips you guys have below of things people should be doing like every day or every week or every month. You never know. But I do appreciate you guys. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you have a good one. Hope to see you next time. A lot of hopes. I hope for a lot of things. Hope for a girlfriend. But thank you guys all for watching. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one. And peace.